Ever wondered why some numbers lie and others tell the cold, hard truth about our economy? Unlocking this secret will change how you see the world and boost your financial IQ. Get ready for some mind-blowing insights that will make you feel like an economic wizard. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of macroeconomics to uncover the essential difference between nominal GDP and real GDP. This knowledge isn't just for economists. It's for anyone who wants to truly understand the health and growth of a nation's economy. Understanding these two concepts is fundamental, not just for academic study, but for interpreting economic news, understanding policy decisions, and even making personal financial choices. The ability to distinguish between these two forms of GDP will give you a powerful lens through which to view economic performance. First, let's start with nominal GDP. Think of nominal GDP as a snapshot of a country's economic output, measured in current prevailing market prices. It precisely measures the total monetary value of all final goods and services produced within a country's geographical borders over a specific period, typically one fiscal year or a quarter. Crucially, it uses the actual market prices that were in effect during that exact period when the goods and services were sold. So, to illustrate, if a hypothetical country produces 10 units of product A at $1 each, and 10 units of product B at $2 each in a given year, its nominal GDP would be calculated as 10 units of A, $1, $10, units of B, $2, $10, $20, $30. This calculation provides a straightforward sum of the raw market value of everything produced. This means that if prices of goods and services increase across the economy due to inflation, even if the actual physical quantity of goods and services produced doesn't change, nominal GDP will inherently show an increase. This is a very important point to remember and often leads to misinterpretations. This upward movement in nominal GDP can create an illusion of genuine economic growth, which might not accurately reflect an actual increase in the production volume of goods and services available to the population. For instance, consider our previous example if the same 10 units of product A and 10 units of product B are produced the very next year, but the prices rise significantly due to widespread inflation to $2 per unit of A and $3 per unit of B. The nominal GDP for the second year would become 10 units of A, $2, $10, units of B, $3, $20, $30, $50. In this scenario, the nominal GDP increased substantially from $30 to $50, representing a 66.7% increase. Yet the actual number of physical units of products A and B produced remained exactly the same. This stark example clearly demonstrates that nominal GDP can be significantly inflated purely by rising prices without any corresponding increase in real economic activity or output. It's much like observing your personal bank account balance. If your balance shows more money, but simultaneously the cost of living everything you want to buy has also become disproportionately more expensive, your actual purchasing power, what you can genuinely afford, might not have increased at all, or could even have decreased. That's precisely why relying solely on nominal GDP isn't sufficient to provide us with a true, unbiased picture of the economy's actual performance and growth trajectory. Now let's move on to real GDP, which offers a far more refined and insightful perspective on economic health. Real GDP is ingeniously designed to eliminate or strip away the distorting effects of inflation, a general increase in prices, or deflation, a general decrease in prices from the GDP calculation. It measures the total value of all final goods and services produced within a country's borders over a specific period, but it critically does so using constant prices derived from a designated base year. Think of it this way: to accurately and meaningfully compare economic output across different years, we absolutely need a consistent and unchanging measuring stick. If we attempt to use current prices from each respective year, which fluctuate due to inflation or deflation, it's akin to trying to compare the height of two people using different, constantly changing rulers. Such a comparison would simply not yield an accurate, reliable result. Therefore, real GDP employs the fixed prices of a particular base year to value all the goods and services produced in all subsequent years. Let's revisit our apple and orange example to solidify this concept. Suppose our chosen base year is the first year, where apples were consistently priced at $1 and oranges at $2. In the second year, even though actual market prices rose dramatically, 2 per apple and $3 per orange, to correctly calculate real GDP for the second year, we would still use those original fixed base year prices. So the real GDP for the second year would be 10 apples, 1 oranges, 2 20 30. Observe something profoundly crucial here: the real GDP in the second year remained precisely the same at $30 as it was in the first year, $30. This outcome accurately reflects and confirms that the actual physical quantity of apples and oranges produced did not change at all between the 2 years. Real GDP, therefore, is the superior metric because it genuinely tells us if a country is actually producing more physical goods and services, not merely if the prices of those existing goods and services are inflating. This makes real GDP an exceptionally more reliable and valid indicator of true economic growth and meaningful changes in a nation's overall standard of living and material well-being. It provides the essential clarity needed to understand whether the economy is truly expanding in terms of its productive capacity and the volume of output it generates for its citizens. So, to succinctly summarize our comprehensive journey through these fundamental economic concepts, nominal GDP represents the raw, unadjusted monetary value of all goods and services produced, calculated using current market prices, and is consequently susceptible to being artificially inflated by rising prices. Real GDP, in stark contrast, is meticulously adjusted for inflation or deflation. By utilizing a consistent set of prices from a chosen base year, thereby providing us with a much clearer, more precise, and ultimately more accurate picture of genuine economic growth, the actual increase in the volume of goods and services produced. When you encounter discussions about economic growth in the news, reputable economic reports, or government announcements, they are almost invariably referring to real GDP growth because it is universally recognized as the most meaningful and true measure of an economy's expansion. Understanding the profound and practical difference between nominal GDP and real GDP is not merely an academic exercise. It is absolutely fundamental to understanding macroeconomics, how national economies truly function, and the underlying drivers of their growth and contractions. This critical distinction empowers us to look beyond the often misleading surface numbers and to grasp the real, tangible changes in a nation's productive output, and by extension, its citizens' living standards. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep unlocking these vital economic secrets. This invaluable knowledge will undoubtedly empower you to make more informed and insightful decisions, both personally and professionally, and to better understand the complex yet fascinating economic world around you. You're well on your way to becoming an astute economic expert and an informed global citizen. Here are 50 important English vocabulary words from our discussion today, with their Korean explanations. Nominal GDP, 명목 GDP, Real GDP, 실질 GDP, Macroeconomics, 거시경제학, Economic Output, 경제 생산량, Current Prices, 현재 가격, Goods and Services, 재화와 용역, Within a country's borders, 한 국가의 국경 내에서, Specific Period, 특정 기간, Effective during that period, 해당 기간 동안 유효한, Straightforward calculation, 간단한 계산, Raw market value, 원시장 가치, Inflation, Illusion of growth, 성장 착시, Actual quantity, 실제소량, Purchasing power, 구매력, Clear picture, 명확한 그림, Design to 하도록 관된, Strip away을 제거하다, Deflation, Constant prices, 불변 가격, Chosen base year, 선택된 기준 연도, Consistent measuring stick, 일관된 측정 기준, Accurately compare, 정확히 비교하다, Subsequent years, 후속 연도, Crucial, 매우 중요한, Accurately reflects, 정확히 반영하다, Actual production, 실제 생산량, Reliable indicator, 신뢰할 수 있는 지표, True economic growth, 진정한 경제 성장, Standard of living, 생활 수준, Production volume, 생산량, Summarize, 요약하다, Adjusted for inflation, 조정된, Meaningful measure, 의미 있는 척도, Fundamental, 근본적인, Economy's function, 경제가 기능하다, Beyond the surface numbers, 표면적인 숫자를 넘어서, Grasp the real changes, 실제 변화를 파악하다, Empower, 이게 권한을 주다, Informed decisions, 정보에 입각한 결정, Economic wizard, 경제 마법사, Mind-blowing insights, 놀라운 통찰력, Financial IQ 금융지능, Essential Difference 본질적인 차이, Macroeconomics 거시경제학, Uncover 밝혀내다, Raw Market Value 원시장 가치, Standard of Living 생활 수준, Constant Prices 불변 가격, Consistent Measuring Stick 일관된 측정 기준,